So hi, everybody. My name is Martinique Lewis. My company is called ABC Travel Network. That also stands for All Black Content Travel Network. I'm a diversity and travel consultant, as well as the president of the Black Travel Alliance and the host of National Geographic's Black Travel Across America. And I'm excited to be speaking today.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I have a woman you might have seen on TV. I was scrolling through the Hulu account my team gives to me because they say I don't watch TV because I don't pay for cable, and I was looking for family-friendly content, so my London and Sydney.com, my two babies, we could watch something together, and I came across this great content. Only thing I was upset about is I've only seen one episode. I'm going to ask her all about that. I have Queen of Travel, Martinique. You guys might look at her and say, wait, where is she from? Well, you guys, she does have Panamanian background, started traveling at 9, but she's all the way in London. So we know she's on her grind because she's making money to live out there in London. So Martinique, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I am great. And I just have to correct you. I'm not in London at the moment. I do live in London, but I'm in Oakland, California, but I do reside in London. So if any of your people ever want to come to London, want to know Black owned communities or where the Black people are at, definitely hit me up.
Well, she just messed up, y'all, because she's in my, place I was born, and I'm going to ask her after, can she send me some Everton Jones? I'll pay whatever she needs to pay. I want the links, hot potato salad.
It's the links for me. You know it. The links are what it is. I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she thinks I'm joking, but watch out about her after this. When I'm done with therapy, I'm like, hey, can you really do that? But let's get into it. I'm solely vegan. I didn't forget about y'all, but Everton Jones is what I grew up on. I'm sorry. Let's get into it. You've been traveling for, a long time. You've been blessed to have a family member that you guys probably have never let retire, to have that buddy pass and how that's set up. Your show, we got one episode. When are we going to get more? Tell us, do I have to go buy cable? Because I haven't had it in over a decade.
So interestingly enough, the show was always slated to only be a documentary. And when everybody put it in their system, as in Disney Plus, as in Hulu, they put it as season 1, episode 1. And I said, well, y'all better speak it into existence because Martinique is ready to do more episodes, as well as the whole world. If it's anything people ask me, they tell me, we love the show. When is episode 2? So National Geographic has heard all of you guys and they are working on it right now. But as you guys all know, Black history is world history, and there's so many more stories that we have to tell. So we can literally pack out a whole season. Actually, we can pack out 9 or 10 seasons. And that's what I'm manifesting into the world right now, that people continue to see me on Black travel across the world, not just America, but for the next 10 to 12 years, because there are so many stories that we can talk about.
And your story, one thing I saw from another interview, and I don't like to repeat information, so sometimes I'll tell people, here's the link so you can kind of see it if you want the clips. But you weren't you didn't have, you have a potential. You could model for any brand out there, but your Instagram, it wasn't popping. I think you said it was at 2,000, and they gave you a TV deal. Very unheard of in this crazy entertainment industry, because usually they are telling, us Black folk and y'all women, first you got to pop it out and do, start twerking, have, 500,000 people looking at you. How was that, navigating, not having a, explosive social media and still getting a TV deal? I mean, it's unheard of nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, when National Geographic found me, so just for people to know, the way National Geographic found me was through Instagram. And for the past 7 years, I have been speaking about a Black travel narrative. By the time National Geographic got to me, I did have 12 or 13,000 followers, but for my first TV deal, because a lot of people don't know, I have multiple TV deals. I have shows where I'm a writer where it talks about Black travel. And even when they found me, I was under 10,000. So I tell people all the time, continue to do what you're passionate about, because somebody will find you, somebody will love the content that you're putting out there, and they will make sure that you have a platform, no matter what, brand it is or what channel it is, to be able to talk about what you're passionate about talking about. And I'm so grateful, because as a travel influencer, people always say like, oh, well, you're not always in a bikini or on a beach. And I'm like, well, that's not all travel influencers do. That's what people have set up in their mind that travel influencers do. But we are storytellers in our own right, because when you go to a destination, we want you to experience what we experience. And most of the time, it's not even about the destination as much as it's about the characters in the destination, the people in the destinations, the brands in the destinations. So yeah, I just tell people all the time, like, stay true to whatever it is that you want to do. You don't have to show skin to be popping. You know what I mean? So after National Geographic, my social media has grown, but there are those people who have been there since the beginning, and I'm truly grateful for that.
And you guys don't, I can hear the haters sometimes. I'm not hating on those who show the skin. Some of us might like that.
If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do.
Yeah. But the fact that you also, ladies, have a brain, and we want to hear those stories, we want to hear those experiences, because the passport bros ain't the only ones traveling. Everybody is moving and traveling, at least in my circle. So I live in a bubble, I know. But it wasn't like you were a football player. We've seen travel channels give Deanna Jones a show back in the day, and we've seen other people.
I'm so shocked that you know that. So many people don't remember that show.
It was a great show.
It was a great show. Him and Granny's on Safari. They were the first Black people that we saw on major networks to have travel shows. I can't believe you remember that. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that just means the grays in my hair, I've earned it. So that's all that means. So, that's that 40 plus club, y'all. But can you talk about, they offer this deal to you, and TV is something that usually moves slow, and people think, oh, once you get on TV, you're rich, and hey, can you buy me a car tomorrow? Talk about how that whole transition was, because I know folks were calling you in English, possibly, and in Spanish, saying, remember when? I
know. It's so funny when you reach a level of success. So many people come out the woodworks, and it's a beautiful thing though, because people are genuinely happy for you, right? So it's like your second grade teacher, it's the man from the corner store who used to sell you donuts every day after school. Like, literally, it's been such a beautiful time for me to experience and reconnect with people. But like I said, this wasn't my first TV deal. So a lot of travel influencers you guys will come across have been offered some type of show or who have been signed to a production company. And like you're saying, TV is very slow. So just so people know, what genuinely happens is a recruiter reaches out to you and they say, hey, we have this idea for a TV show and we want you to be the face. And once they get to know you, they create something called a sizzle reel. Once that sizzle reel is created, they pitch it out to the network so somebody can pick up your show and you go from there. But oftentimes after they pitch it out to the network, it's never picked up. But because you're in a contract with this production company, you stay with them for a year and a half, 2 years, or your contract renews because you're trying to get somebody to pick up this show. And this is what happens to so many people. Now, what happened to me was I was signed to a production company. I've been signed to 2 of them actually. And at one particular time, my production company pitched Nat Geo on the same exact idea and they said no. So then, right, you're now looking at through the pandemic or after the pandemic, when brands are ready to show people traveling again because they know everybody needs to get out of the house, Nat Geo comes up with a separate idea, which is very similar to the one that was already pitched to them. So my production team did pitch a show that was completely, it was along the same lines of Black travel across America, but Nat Geo came up with this idea for a documentary, so I didn't have to go through any of that process. So when Nat Geo came to me, they interviewed me, they offered me the show, they offered me the money, and then we went straight into production 2 weeks later. And production goes quick also, which a lot of people don't realize. So we went into production, we completed the series, or we completed the episode, which took about around a week to film the full things. We were on the road for about 11 days. And then it took them about 2 months to produce and then get it ready for TV. So things happen very quickly once they do happen, but just understand, like, when you're trying to pitch an idea, people don't always pick it up. And then trying to pitch in the middle of a pandemic is very difficult because nobody could travel.
And can you tell the people while you're waiting for that production deal? Because some folks say, man, I'm gonna get paid, and then it's ready to be made in the shade. They start buying things that, they had no business buying, even if they were 10 years in this business. Reason why a lot of y'all are broke at the end. Can you talk about that waiting process and how even payments can work? Because everyone's deal can be different, but a lot of us, when you're getting into this, you don't learn unless you have some great guidance, or like yourself, you've been through it a few times.
Right. So I've always had a lawyer, and that's the first thing I tell people to do. When you need to talk money and talk contracts, you need an entertainment lawyer specifically. Luckily, my entertainment lawyer is also in the travel space, so she knows how to talk so many different, so much different business. Her name is Christina Libert. And if any of you ever need an entertainment lawyer, it is called Counsel Up. She is a Black woman out of Boston. She's so dope. But she was able to negotiate things for me, because I'm like, no, I want to either make this, or I want these rights, or I want, writer's credit. And so people always think it's the money. And yes, it's the money, but it's also everything outside of the money. Is there going to be merchandise sold? Who's going to have the rights to things? Do you get a writer's credit on the show? Because all things matter as well. So because I had a lawyer, she was able to negotiate, my contracts. And then I won't say I'm the best with money, but I also understand that money could be gone like this. And at the time I was building the ABC Travel Green Book app. So at the time I was like, I need the money so I could finish my app. And so that's what I put the money towards. But I had already talked to people like Kelly Edwards, who also had a show on the Travel Channel called Mysterious Islands. I had talked to her about TV. So she let me know just what to expect. She's like, this is what happens in your first TV show. Understand it's not going to look how you want to look, but also I'm so blessed that my first opportunity was with Nat Geo, because it's Nat Geo. So now, you know what I mean? I've already started on 100. I didn't start on the brands that people don't know. I didn't start on a mid-tier. I didn't go to this stream. I started at Nat Geo. So now anybody who comes after Nat Geo has to be on the same level or above Nat Geo. And that way I can negotiate the type of money that I want, because I already have Nat Geo. You see what I'm saying? So I have been blessed to be able to go at my first actual opportunity and be at that high level status. But I always tell people, make sure people pay you what you're worth. Part of my contract was that I could only wear Black-owned designers. Part of my contract was that 90% of my production team had to be Black. Part of my contract was that I will only use Black makeup artists. So I was like, it's not only about me in this contract, it's about everybody else around me. We are going to all have this opportunity to excel, in our specific areas. So that was all part of the contract. So like I said, it's more than money. It's also, what do you want to happen after? Or who do you want on your side? Who do you want on your team? And how you can elevate others.
And I want you to, two things. You said some names. I love that you shared that. Hey, Kelly said go. Make sure you reschedule with me. I caught her right before that show. She did that, and things are crazy, I know. But repeat and maybe even spell out that last name of your attorney. Christina, was it Libert? Libert,
Liburt.
There you guys go.
Counsel Up. Yeah. And she's phenomenal. Like I said, she's an entertainment lawyer. She goes around speaking at travel conferences so that content creators who have brands understand all the legalities of it. So she's such an important person to just travel influencers' narratives. And then she additionally has travel apps. So she understands so many different parts of the industry.
You guys are getting real game. You can go Google that, hit her website if you're serious and need help, because so many people go into negotiations with these big giants, no representation, no manager that, has been in this industry for even 2 minutes. And they think, oh, I got a deal because they gave me, 30,000 or 100,000. Hell, if they give you $1 million, y'all, trust me, go get your lawyer. So with that, and that's a show in itself, how to make a deal with these folks. I'm just Yeah, so you're in production, and you're putting everybody on, Black designers. Was that a difficult thing to negotiate? Because usually they have their favorites they've been using for the last 100 years.
So it wasn't difficult because they knew they wanted me as the host. So really what I asked for, I got. And like I said, I'm really, really grateful because my process was easy. You know what I mean? It wasn't, I didn't have to fight for anything. They were like, okay, yep. Cool. Okay. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, here's the money to buy your wardrobe. Like, so they were very, very good about it all. And I appreciate Nat Geo for that because, like I tell people all the time, when we think Nat Geo, we don't think about ourselves because you don't normally see Black representation on Nat Geo. So the fact that they were open to even doing this special, but also giving me what I wanted in terms of my demands, because I came with them, I was really, really happy about that.
No, that's a great thing. And I mean, God's timing is perfect, and you can go in there and they got not to say this about Nat Geo, but they got Harvey Weinstein out of the casting room, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But when you're doing it for a Nat Geo, how has that pressure been? Give us that process, because now the big lights, the big spotlight, big budgets are on.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's been great. I can only be myself. And that's what I tell people all the time. And I think a lot of people, when they get certain deals, they try to change. They try to change to be what they think other people want them to be, or how they think they should represent the brand. And I have stayed Martinique this whole entire time. I have stayed Martinique Lewis from East Oakland, Cynthia Black's-child. Okay, like period, And I was like, what you guys see is what you guys get, because also you got to remember, my daily job is a diversity and travel consultant. So if I see some disparities, if I see some injustices, I'm going to Nat Geo and saying, this is not how things should be done. And I got to stand up for myself. So I never had to change. I could always be myself, and they welcomed that. And I was grateful for that. But not only that, a lot of people don't know that Nat Geo has so many Black people internally who also showed up for me with anything that I needed. And so I was truly grateful for that, because you don't ever get to see a Black woman in power, or you don't get to see a Black woman over programming. You don't see a Black person over diversity, equity, and inclusion. You don't see the Black producer. I had all of that. So I tell people all the time, like, depending on which brand you chose, whether if it was a Netflix or Amazon Prime, I know your team didn't look like my team. You know what I mean? Like, I know you didn't get that. So that's why I say, in this process, I was truly, truly blessed because of the people who I had on my team. And I was able to just be myself. And like I said, so grateful for that, because it doesn't always happen that way.
When you threw out that East Oakland, I thought she was going to say twomp twomp, or seminary. I thought it was going another call. I just, I got you, Oakland. Now. With a name like Martinique, Panamanian background, I'm sure people always ask you, how many languages do you speak? Because you got to be able to speak French with a name like that, and having the Panama background. Yeah, give us the game.
So I grew up with a grandmother whose first language is Spanish. And she taught her kids Spanish. And when they got here, they didn't want to speak Spanish because they were trying to fit in. So we didn't necessarily grow up in the Spanish household. However, when we went to our grandmother's, that's all she spoke. Like, she didn't play that. So I can speak Spanish enough to be conversational. I want, excuse me, I want my Spanish to grow, and I speak absolutely no French. So interestingly enough, 2 weeks ago on my birthday, I was in Martinique, and we were just, we had to make it work. Thank God for Google Translate. But everywhere we went, for the most part, people spoke English. But as Americans, I always say, like, gosh, we're the only ones who only speak one language, and we have to do better. We have to do more. So I was like, okay, before the next time I go back to Martinique, my French will be better. For sure. But yeah, I only speak 2 languages. I wish I spoke more.
Okay. And it just means, spending more time on the other side, taking the train, and, and you'll get it, because you're fine. And you guys say, wait, man, how does everything great come out of Oakland? Yeah, I'm biased.
Period.
But everything also great comes out of the HBCU. My wife and I went to, the Harvard of the South, Grambling State University.
Okay.
You went to where all the engineers are. So
And the veterinarians, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, in North Carolina, where I believe Mark Zuckerberg, went and told y'all at one point recently, about what he was doing with diversity for the good or the bad. He showed up. He doesn't show up even to everywhere.
There you
How,
go. That's true.
yeah, how was the HBCU experience in building what you are now?
Oh my gosh. I tell people all the time. So I played basketball coming out of college, and coming out of high school, and I could have stayed in California, which most of my classmates were doing, or I could go to HBCU, and it was either at a FAM or North Carolina A&T. My sister went to FAM, so I was like, I'm not going there to live in your shadow. I was like, I want to go to A&T, and I loved it when I went to go visit. And my A&T experience, I tell people all the time, it has made me who I was. For the simple fact, coming from Oakland, especially when I was growing up, there's a lot of murders, a lot of gangs. It was that. So to see Black men in college, wanting to be in college, smarter than you, fine as hell, and can do your math homework for you, I was like, yo, I will never forget my first night there. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, she said, yeah. I said, these Black men out here are fine and they smart. I said, I don't understand. And it didn't mean they wasn't hood. It didn't mean that, they didn't come from disparities, but they wanted to be in school. So just that alone. And you have to remember, we're from California. There's no HBCUs over here. Closest HBCU is Texas. So me going to HBCU was like, you're walking down the street, you see everybody who looks like you, your teachers look like you, all the chancellors look like you, the lunch lady looks like you, the janitor looks like you, your professors look like you, the swim team looks like you, the basketball team looks like you, the bowling team looks like you. It was unheard of, and I couldn't even put it into words. But the feeling that you get to feel from being an HBCU student and alumni, it's next level. And then to go to a school like the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, where you have people like the Greensboro Four coming out who are literally change agents and sparking movements. All you want to do is somehow be as great as them. And so A&T instilled all of that within me. And then because Aggies are so proud, and Aggie pride is worldwide, and literally I would go to different places and meet an Aggie and they would take care of me because I was an Aggie. You don't get that from UNC Greensboro. You know what I mean? I couldn't get that down the street at the PWI. It can only come from A&T. So HBCU experiences like that of none other. And I tell these young kids all the time, I know it seems cool to go everywhere else, but I'm telling you, the best choice you can make is an HBCU.
Nothing like it for everything that you said, and you said it with such, it was ease.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say one correction, because I can hear the folks right now.
Uh-oh.
California, there's Drew University. It's a medical school, and it is
HBCU.
Yes,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But it is not historically a HBCU. It became an HBCU. So in terms of the historical ones, that was built in the 19th century. That is not one. However, you are absolutely right. And I stand corrected.
I just don't want no funk and them ready. Them doctors, I'm married to medicine myself.
Okay.
And after, they will start banging too, because they all have a story, and they know how to, take a life and save a life. But that's another scenario. But being even from Oakland, can make it fearless, because I remember going to the HBCU and I said, and also, just so you know, I also, was raised in the 925 as well. I got to go do both. I, almost felt some days I was bused to school or barked to school, right? But when I said in the South, I said, wait, all these Black folks walking together, why don't we see that back home? And they said, because 3 is a gang. And I said, oh, and that, it's just such an eye opener. So it was a blessing. And I thank my mother pushing me to go to a HBCU after that PWI kicked me out. That's a whole nother story.
All good.
Yeah, it's all good. Now, can you tell the people, with all the success that you've had, and the best is yet to come? I mean, you're young, I know Black don't crack, but the best is yet to come. Can you tell the people a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do, like maybe taking the HBCUs to Africa or something like that?
Yeah, so through the Black Travel Alliance, which is an organization I founded with 17 other Black travel content creators, we do so many give backs. We support so many organizations that are like that passport program that helps take kids from inner cities, overseas for the first time. I Fly Youth is one of them. Be Girl World is another one. But additionally, I always make sure that when I travel, I do some type of give back. So for example, if I go to Cartagena, Colombia, and a lot of you guys might know Alex Rocha from Experience Real Cartagena, when I'm there, I say, take me to, a library where I can give them Wi-Fi, or, take me down to where the fishermen are so I can give them new fishing poles or fishing lines for them to use, or, take me to even his community center so I could teach a class in English to help these babies understand how to speak both languages. So the opportunities that they have, if they want to leave Colombia, they can. So there's always something to do, but through the Black Travel Alliance, we've given out over $175,000 worth of scholarships to Black travel content creators, whether it's to help their personal organizations, their personal brands buy new equipment, but there's always somebody to donate to or to help, because we all need each other. So those are just some of the ones that you guys can do, but that was I Fly Youth and Be Girl World. Never forget also that like brands like Alaska Airlines allow you to donate miles, so their UNICEF program, so that they can, send kids to HBCUs who might not have the money. There are always those programs like that around that people can do to help support Black travelers and Black travel organizations.
And you put that out there, so you put the websites out there, but even for I represent influencers, and so I know I'm going to hear, well, how do you become part of that? We travel and we take people to Africa, so how does a content creator become of that exclusive circle?
Right. So you can just join. And right now we have over 2,500 members across 56 countries and across over 40 different niches. So you just go to blacktravelalliance.org and you hit join. I would tell people to get in now, because come June, we start charging people for membership, but it's because we give you so much goodness throughout the year that we need to be able to be sustainable, pay our employees. Like myself, I've never been paid for Black Travel Alliance. I've been there for 3 years and I've done so much. Even when people ask me to do things on behalf of Black Travel Alliance and I charge a fee, I just donate it there because I understand my community needs it more than I do. But Black Travel Alliance is an incredible resource to have, an incredible network to be a part of. We do different type of what do you call that? Oh gosh, why can't I think about it? Programming throughout the year where we will bring in brands like Instagram, we'll bring in brands like Condé Nast, so you can understand how you can work with them, so you can ask them questions. But we do so much for our community. We do meetups. Like I said, we give scholarships. You get exclusive deals to certain things. You get certain access to people. It's just a really wonderful resource. So make sure you guys look us up, blacktravelalliance.org, or on Instagram and across social media at the Black Travel Alliance.
You guys, I'm on it right now because that's how tight my AI is. It can hit something and just do. But you're about to get some people, because I'm going to send this out to some folks who, this is what it is. We all need to know each other. With unity, we all win. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And she said it's free now. So right. Black folk especially, I'll jump on free. You like free. If it was $5, $5. This is such a blessing. But let me say this, because some folks will join and say, well, I'm trying to get a TV deal too, and I'm going to bother you. I got something for you guys. You can go to her website and she has her rate sheets there, and it shows you how much that consulting costs, and be ready to pay. Some of y'all, that might be your rent. For some of you, it might be your car payment, the way car payments have risen, But I like how you had that laid out, because that's needed. It's necesito. People need to, know that this game that you have, you might be taking free flights now, but you put your work in. So it's, this is why it didn't just happen overnight. Can you tell the person who says, I want to travel, I keep hearing about this Africa thing, but should I go in a group or should I go by myself? Me, myself, and my two kids, we've gotten citizenship in Sierra Leone.
Oh, wow.
Because of African ancestry and beautiful Gina Page and Diallo, and setting this thing up for, those of us in the diaspora.
Yeah.
And so can you talk about, your experience with Africa? Because this is really an African business podcast, if you didn't know.
I love it. I tell African Americans and people of African origins all the time, make it back to Africa. I don't care where you go, make it back to Africa, because there is a sense of belonging, a sense of self that you feel when you step on that soil. Regardless if you want to go by yourself or in a group, get there. Now, there are tons of groups like the Roman Republic, like the Wind Collective, that will take you, like Jelani Women Travel, that will take, like Nomadic Tribe, that will take you to Africa if you want to go in a group. But also, don't ever be afraid to explore on your own. You know what I mean? Do your research like you would do anywhere else. Do your research so you understand what the customs of that country is. But think about it. There are 54 countries in Africa. We should all be going to all of them. If we can make it to all 50 states, we can make it to all 54 countries in Africa. You know what I mean? It's definitely something that Black people should do. I love all parts of Africa, South, North, East, West. I would say I've been in West Africa more than anything. I need to explore more of East Africa, but right now I'm still getting, South Africa. I'm still getting all the different countries in South Africa. But my first experience in Africa, I would say, was 12 years ago, and I went to Malawi, and that was my first experience. And most people say, oh, your first experience was in Kenya or Johannesburg or Nigeria. No, it was Malawi. And I absolutely adored it. And at the time, I was helping them set up microeconomies so that they can create their own sorts of income. It was actually my thesis in grad school. But I tell people all the time, when you go to a destination, leave it better than you found it. So if you go to Africa with the intent that you're going to give the motherland everything that it gives you. So you know what I mean? Just go there with that mindset. But there are plenty of Black-owned travel groups who will take you there if you want to go in a group versus you going by yourself. But there are so many blogs, so many YouTubes that you can watch so you understand how to navigate through a space.
Malawi, Mulibonji to you. She was eating in Sima,
you already know. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, when the first time I tasted fufu, the first time I said, oh, this is Sima. They said, well, that was like the same thing that they have in Malawi. And Talele, listen, Malawi for me.
And they beef so much from the west to the east. No, this is Getty, fufu. We all eating the same
thing.
And for the fellas, y'all gonna eat the same matacos when you're in Malawi that you have. But if you got that, you got that. Because I'm not talking about Taco Bell. But when you said she was like, north, east, I was like, is she gonna bust out of some Mr. Fab? I got the north, So
town business. I love it.
Love the conversation. You guys, if you love it, make sure, majority of you are listeners, but go over to the, YouTube or Facebook, whatever you see this on. And I want you guys to share this with someone. It will change their life. Any last words for the people?
Be yourself always and follow your hearts, because it will lead you to a great destination for sure.
You guys have been blessed again by the game. Share this with someone so it can change their life. Do not hold the game. Be blessed, y'all.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed bias socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. So opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration enjoyed by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.